We're going to be talking affordability all week on CBC Toronto and online, and we're asking you, what's the toughest thing about living in the GTA? What's your biggest expense? And what's the one thing that could sway your vote? You can get in touch with us by emailing mygtaelection@cbc.ca, or you can send us a DM to our Instagram page at CBC Toronto.
The toughest thing about living in the GTA, I would say, is
definitely rent. Affordability is right up there.
Just transportation, getting around town. It's congestion everywhere.
Traffic congestion is the toughest thing.
affordable housing, because I would say like my rent is
The trains compared to the rest of the world.
So that's very important to me as an election issue, is getting our infrastructure moving, especially subways and above rail, like streetcars on King, things like that.
crazy.
What's your rent like?
Upwards of $2,000 a month.
Rent is soaring. We're living in a housing crisis. Looking for political leaders to really start coming together to tackle the solution.
Between my wife and I, she spends a lot on GO Train.
We're reporting tonight in the riding of University Rosedale, and you might think of all those multi-million-dollar mansions, but there are plenty of high-rises here, and a new study has found it's actually one of the worst ridings when it comes to rent. About 1/3 of tenants pay more than 50% of their income to rent. Welcome to day 2 on the campaign trail, and tonight marks the first leaders debate. As we heard, Justin Trudeau is sitting this one out. In the next hour or so, we are expecting Conservative leader Andrew Scheer, Jagmeet Singh with the NDP, and Elizabeth May with the Greens. It all gets started at 8 o'clock. We're going to be live here at 6 on CBC Toronto. Then you can follow me on Twitter. We'll be posting all of the highlights for you. We got music, people. It's going to be a good one. Stay tuned.
I just wish Justin Trudeau had taken the time to show up. It's obvious that he's afraid of his record. We'll carry on.
Would balance itself this year. Instead, we see massive deficits as far as the eye can see year.
It's something that's very, very personal and very important to me.
All three feel that the industry is misunderstood by many Canadians and under-supported by the Liberal government.
Steelworker jobs. In fact, we need a lot more rail. We need to rebuild transportation systems in this country so that we can, and as part of Mission Possible is to ensure that we lay down new rail lines. We should be using Canadian steel. We should.
This is the real glamorous part of the job now, where I sit in a parkade in our CBC van working on my scripts. We've got a file for radio and television on tonight's election debate. First up is our live report at 11 on CBC Toronto with Mike Wise. Hope to see you there. week, actually, we're going to be talking about climate change. It's an issue we've heard from you that is very important this federal election. Perhaps not surprisingly, the party we seem to be hearing the most from so far is the Greens. I'm Shannon Martin on the federal election campaign trail. We want to hear from you. What issues matter the most? We're calling it CBC Own Your Vote. And this week we're asking, what do you want to hear from party leaders when it comes to climate change?